Hello guys, if you've been keeping up with the Dragon Age Veilguard news, you might have heard that we will be able to choose a faction for our Rook, our new Dragon Age protagonist. Some of these factions will be familiar to you, but there's also a few new ones. You might be having a bit of trouble deciding which faction your Rook is going to be a part of, and understandably so. They all sound really interesting, and if I hadn't thought of what kind of character I was going to make beforehand, I would have struggled to pick one myself. Don't you worry though, in this video I'm going to tell you all you need to know about the factions in Dragon Age Veilguard, and hopefully I can help you make up your mind. And at the very least, I'll make sure you're all caught up when you jump back into the wonderful world of Thedas this fall. So grab yourself a nice cup of tea and let's jump straight in. Also, I apologize if my voice sounds a little off, I've been dealing with a cold. Alright, let's start with the Grey Wardens. This is a faction most of us are already very familiar with, as it is a faction that we were a part of in Dragon Age Origins. It is one of my favorite factions in the Dragon Age games, and I'm very happy that we are once again able to play as one. I've actually been covering anything Grey Warden related for the past while, such as the secrets behind the mysterious Grey Warden joining ritual, and the history of the First Blight, as well as the history of the Order itself. If you are looking for an in-depth look into the Grey Wardens, I highly recommend you watch those videos as they contain a lot of information and I put a lot of effort into them. For this video though, we're going to keep it short and sweet. So the Grey Wardens are an order of highly skilled warriors with special abilities, founded to defeat the Blights and protect the people of Thedas against Darkspawn incursions. In the extensive history of the Order, they have been deemed heroes, celebrated for killing archdemons and saving Thedas from imminent doom multiple times over. Not everyone holds the Grey Wardens in such high regard, however. Some are very distrustful of the Wardens as they keep a lot of secrets from those outside the Order. Some also question their ideologies and methods. The Grey Wardens will do whatever it takes to stop a Blight. The use of blood magic is not unheard of within the Order, and the Grey Wardens will use it if they deem it necessary for a chance at victory over the Darkspawn, especially during the desperate times of a Blight. One of such times was during the Fourth Blight, where the use of blood magic combined with an altered version of the joining ritual led to the near extinction of the mighty Griffins, once loyal companions to the Grey Wardens. Through the events of the novel The Last Flight, we learned that 13 healthy Griffin eggs were recently found, all of which hatched. And our Grey Warden companion in the Veilguard, Davrin, actually has a young Griffin companion. Whether this one came from the original 13 eggs or a next batch, we're not sure yet. Despite claiming to be politically neutral, the Order occasionally breaks those guidelines, sometimes justifying it as a necessity of survival. Some might say they do it in order to gain more influence and power. The Grey Wardens seem to be going through a rough time right now. There is talk of war within the Order and rebellion at Weishout, their headquarters in the Enderfells. So the Grey Wardens are seen as the defenders of Thedas, but the Order very much believes that the ends justify the means. Sometimes that means taking great risks with even greater rewards, or severe consequences. If your Rook is someone that wants to kill some Darkspawn and maybe even help some people along the way, the Grey Wardens might be the perfect fit. Next up is the Antivan Crows. This is a faction we are also familiar with as it was introduced in Dragon Age Origins through our favorite assassin Zevran. Since then, we have learned a bit more about the Crows mainly through the Tevinter Night stories and Old Crow's tricks, the Wigmaker job, and 8 Little Talons, with those last two likely being the most relevant for Dragon Age Veilguard. The Wigmaker job introduces a very important character to us, Lucanes de Amorte. He will be the one representing the Antivan Crows as our companion in Veilguard. The famous, or infamous Antivan Crows, also known as the House of Crows, consists of thieves, spies, and assassins, and their deadly reputation is well known throughout Thedas. The Crows, once a branch of the Chantry consisting of an order of monks, have grown into a very powerful organization, and practically rule over Antiva. They are a driving political force, and assassinations of Antivan nobility or royalty is far from uncommon. Life as a Crow is not an easy one. It takes skill, and perhaps also a bit of luck to become one and survive. Their recruits are often bought, orphaned or enslaved elves and humans, trained from a young age. During their training, a recruit will be put through a series of tests and trials set up by the Crows, who have no issue killing their recruits for making mistakes and making them kill each other. The only way for a recruit to prove themselves worthy is by surviving these very tests. When the tests are completed, they become full assassins. When a Crow is hired for a job, it is generally a high-ranking assassin who handles the contract, their official title being a Master. If a Master fails to complete a contract, another Master can be hired to do so. And speaking of failure, if one fails to assassinate their target and lives, the Crows will make sure they don't live for long. Within the Crows, a failure means death, and leaving the Order and living to tell the tale is highly unlikely, though not impossible. The Crows are made up of a bunch of family houses, with each member of the house taking the house's name as their family name. So this means if you decide to make your Rook an Antivan Crow, their last name will likely be the name of the house that they belong to. The current major houses are De Amorte, Balazar, Valisti, Cortez, De Riva, Nero, Cantori, and Aranai, the last one being the house that Zevran belonged to. These leading houses are collectively called the Eight Talons, and they are considered the leaders of the Crows. I am now going to briefly go into the events of 8 Little Talons, so if you haven't read The Winter Nights yet, consider this your spoiler warning. You can use the chapter markers below if you want to skip past it. The notorious organization isn't in the best position currently, as the Crows have recently lost a few of their Talons. During a meeting called by the first Talon of the Crows, Catarina de Amorte, regarding a potential Qunari invasion, several other Talons are murdered in quick succession. When Emil Cortez is revealed to be the culprit, having been manipulated by the Qunari, he is killed for his betrayal. Only 4 Talons remain: Catarina de Amorte, Viago de Riva, Thea Cantori, and Bolivar Nero. So if spying, assassinating, and dangerous politics sound intriguing to your Rook, they will surely have a place among the Antivan Crows. Moving from the sunny landscape of Antiva to the Kingdom of Navarra. Navarra is known for their artistry-filled cities and beautiful gardens, but probably one of the biggest things they are known for is their approach to death. Unlike most cultures in Thedas, Navarrans don't burn their dead. They believe that when someone dies, their soul crosses over to the Fade and displaces a Fade spirit. In order to provide a place for these spirits to live, they carefully preserve the bodies of their dead and place them in elaborate crypts in the Grand Necropolis, a massive mausoleum almost large enough to be an entire city in itself. The Mortalitasi, also known as Death Mages, are responsible for the mummification of the bodies of the Navarran elite. They are known to dabble in necromancy, and some even have skeletal assistants. Within the Mortalitasi is the Mourn Watch. They are the keepers and elite guardians of the Grand Necropolis. Angry spirits on the loose, corpse possession gone wrong, who are you gonna call? Mourn Watchers! Okay. Sorry. Premature possession is something the Mourn Watch have to deal with sometimes. In the Tevinter Night story, Down Among the Dead Men, we see premature possession happen firsthand when the body of Lord Penric Karn gets possessed by a rage demon during his funeral. Since the Mourn Watch is one of the factions that was introduced to us only recently, there isn't a lot of information about them yet. Most, if not all, what we know is from Tevinter Nights, and I highly recommend you give Down Among the Dead Men a read, as I think there is a very high chance it'll be relevant in Veilguard, especially since one of the characters from that story will be our companion, Emmerich Valkyrin. So does your Rook enjoy solving problems, specifically those related to magic and possession? Do they like to spend time with friends in skeletal form and summon wisps from across the veil? Maybe they'd like to give the Mourn Watch a try. And now it's time to talk about the Lords of Fortune. The Lords of Fortune are a renowned guild of treasure hunters from Ravane. Out of every group of treasure hunters in Thedas, the Lords of Fortune are considered to be among the best. Collecting nice shinies from caves isn't their only interest though. They are also known to steal from rich collectors, take bounties on dangerous monsters, and offer protection to the employers that accompany them on their expeditions. Members of the Lords of Fortune often wear colorful outfits made complete with capes, belts, sashes, scarves, charms, and the shiny trinkets they found during their hunts. Though usually only the ones that survive for more than a year or two actually dress this way. Some Lords of Fortune also specialize in disguises and changing accents. Tash will be the companion that represents the Lords of Fortune in Dragon Age Veilguard. Apart from Tash, we know only a few Lords of Fortune so far. Holix from the Tevinter Night story Luck in the Gardens, Matteo from Genitive Dies in the End, Barv, Herald, and Elim from Herald Had the Plan, and Lachlan from Dragon Age Absolution. If your Rook is someone that likes adventure, hunting monsters, collecting shiny trinkets, and doesn't shy away from a bit of danger, the Lords of Fortune are the way to go. Alright, the Shadow Dragons. As one of the newest factions, we know precious little about the Shadow Dragons. This faction was introduced to us through the Dragon Age comic The Missing. We know the Shadow Dragons are an organization in Tevinter that opposes corrupt rulers and helps former slaves that have escaped their master. They provide shelter and food for the elves and make sure they are not rediscovered by their former captors. Their mission is to help those in need and bring justice to the people. Nev Gallus, a private investigator in Minrathous and one of our new companions in Veilguard, will be the one representing this faction in the new game. If your Rook wants to help people and make a corrupt, evil Magister's day worse while they're at it, the Shadow Dragons will be the place for them. The final one of the factions that we'll be able to choose from in Veilguard is the Veil Jumpers. The Veil Jumpers are explorers of ancient elven ruins, and they welcome anyone brave enough to face the strange, reality-warping magic of the Arlathan Forest. Like the Shadow Dragons, we still know very little about this faction as it was introduced to us only recently. We know that our companion Bellara is a member of the Veil Jumpers, and apart from Bellara, there are a few other Veil Jumpers we've met. Strife and Erlin, who were introduced to us in Tevinter Nights, 3 Trees to Midnight, and who we met again in The Missing, along with Bindi and Tist. Does strange, timey-wimey magic and ancient elven ruins sound like music to your Rook's ears? The Veil Jumpers might be the best pick for them. I actually had a bit of a rough time choosing between the Veil Jumpers and the Lords of Fortune, as the Veil Jumpers just sound really interesting and, well, you know I love elven stuff. But I think the Lords of Fortune just fit the character that I'm going to play a little bit better, so on my first playthrough I am gonna go with that. But the Veil Jumpers will 100% be the pick for my second playthrough, and could potentially end up being my canon. So these are all the factions that our Rook can be a part of in Dragon Age Veilguard. If you had trouble picking a faction, I hope this video helped you make up your mind, or at the very least give you a clear idea of what these factions are all about. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, let me know by liking this video, or leave a comment and let me know which faction appeals the most to you. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a single one of my videos, as there is lots and lots more to come in the upcoming months leading up to Dragon Age Veilguard's release. If you want to support the channel, check out my Patreon, or join my Discord server and let's continue to talk about the Veilguard's factions there. That's it for now though, thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.